Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Gaming with Blockchain. I'm your host, Aminu, and we are now going to talk about a kind of off the cuff topic of bots. This is now something out of the regular programming, and why I think simply because we've been encountering so many issues with these damn bots. I had mentioned in previous episodes that June was going to be a busy month, and as so far has proven to be the case. We've had so many releases in the NFT markets, and unfortunately, throughout each one, there's been so many experiences that people have been stating that things are selling out within 2 seconds, within 5 seconds, within barely a minute, and sometimes even with the counter still in place, or enough of a timeline that the project's anticipated. Maybe we'll spread this out through 5 days or 7 days, but it doesn't even last 24 hours. It barely even lasts an hour or even 15 minutes. And I've seen it on Twitter feeds, I see it in the Telegram, I see it in Discord. People are just so fed up. So what projects have been affected? Like I said, it's been numerous. I can only highlight a few and just go over what's been happening in the past couple of weeks. So, you know, Upland just released their updated a new city and released Cleveland. Great launch, no issues, no headaches, can't complain at all. So we have all these different projects. Then we definitely have the new project that was released this week called Undersea Park. Again, nice and little nifty project. Can't wait to see where they take off. But again, they're just like anything being challenged with how they maintain integrity in their releases. Binance now is just about to launch their NFTs marketplace. Who knows what they're going to encounter in terms of all these bots? They've been having breaches and exploits in their DeFi contract and services. So, what are the chances that that's going to probably leak into the NFT marketplace? And then right now, we have the Uplift Rail token along with our planet that's going to be doing their upgrades soon for Borealis. They just had the upgrade for the Swineland, and apparently there may be at some point issuing the upgrades for the Borealis land releases. But again, just like anything, with their issues with their elements, they're tackling how to address all these bots. CryptoMon is going to be doing their egg release in maybe about just under a week for new, I should say not even new, but for players who haven't been able to get on the shortlist. Why? Due to, again, multiple accounts or abusive behavior and botting. So they went through a really intensive process to try to go through an elimination strategy and cut their list. I'm not sure how much they were able to knock off, but I'm thinking close to maybe at least a good thousand, if not more, suspicious accounts. But this is a lot of work. This is a lot of things that these projects have to do to ensure that you as and me as players or as people who are investing in this, and I say that term loosely, are enjoying the projects that we encounter or the projects that we want to share against. And I'll talk about that a bit more. Enviroblocks, they just did their recent release, and I was supposed to buy at least two of these small blocks, and I didn't, which I'm going to do right now. I had this loaded, so I'm going to do the purchases at this moment, and I said it was two small blocks. So I'm going to buy this box. Again, not something that'll probably be involved in heavily, but I just like the idea, and I was supposed to do that before, and I haven't done that, so I'm just going to do them now before I forget again. But again, these are all projects that are going to try to gain momentum, grow their fan base. But the last thing they want to be doing is dealing with bots that are just circumventing the system and undermining the project's integrity. This is another project that was launched today, and haven't heard anything negative in terms of the experience. But again, it's just something you want to be able to enjoy. So what do we do with these bots? How are we going to kind of, as us players, as buyers, s- kill the bots. Because I think, like many, I'm kind of tired of seeing something that says sold out in less than 10 seconds. It doesn't even last a minute. So I am suspicious. I'm not going to debate that, yeah, maybe you're just not fast enough on the draw, or, it's just by pure luck. I can accept that to a certain extent, but with recent things I've been seeing and hearing about, no, I'm more leaning towards way too much bot interference, and we kind of have to find a way to to kind of stop that in its tracks. So what has been happening right now? A few projects are trying to address that. You have Upland is now trying to create a queue system in their launches for high-end NFTs. We have that Uplift and Our Planet are now trying to create a shortlist, and I will term it a shortlist, I, i.e. whitelist, that maybe even has a way to vouch for another player or another member. But would that be enough? Are these now the new mechanics? And we have to think, like, here we are on a blockchain that's supposed to be anonymous, but at the same time now we have to kind of reintroduce traditional manners, or ways to bring or to secure that the players that are coming into these projects are truly human or human beings. We've now relied so much on AI or automated systems that we're kind of the victim of our own success. And now we have to find ways to kind of reverse that trend. So I'm thinking, what would be the harm now if we had to create maybe a dual layer shortlist? Not the CAPTCHA. We sure as hell don't want to go back to CAPTCHA. That was a nightmare. But what if we kind of have to do the first layer of a shortlist? And it's a shortlist just to say you're on the shortlist. It's randomly selected. You're just on the shortlist. It has nothing to do with where you are in queue when it comes to purchasing an NFT. But at least then you're on a list, and it's a kind of safeguard. You're now part of the membership board. And then when it comes to NFT releases, maybe then there's another random drop of, okay, this is your queue. You're one of, if it's an NFT release of maybe 500 NFTs, and you are randomly selected. Again, it's no guarantee that you will be. Maybe it's in phases, who knows? You're put in a queue, and you have this window of time to purchase an item, or that you're maybe guaranteed. Who knows how it can be implemented? But then it kind of secures the audience and the support team to receive these, again, assets that people are cherishing and looking forward to, instead of now knowing that, okay, 90% of the time it could go into a bot's hands. And I call these current botting systems scalping. This is the modern day version of scalping. They're bought quickly, and then they're resold on the market for a markup of maybe 10, 15, 20%, just so that, okay, look, we scored, we got these particular assets that everyone's looking for. Or now, do we even go to the stage of KYC? Do we even get to that point right now that we have to integrate more traditional means of securing identity and securing access points to prevent the abuses that were happening? I know in the crypto space or in the blockchain space, it's supposed to be all anonymous and no one knows anybody and everything of that. But I think that's also part of the problem. We've now created a loophole for these issues to come through. And I think we have to find a center point, a middle ground, to prevent any further growth, because the NFT market is still new. I mean, if you look at Atomic Hub, this is still a really growing market. And this is just on the perhaps more gamified side of the market. We haven't touched yet on the business elements or the commerce side. So we have to then figure out how are we going to address this, because as the technology grows, as the marketplace becomes more interesting and diverse, the bots are going to be just as clever. They're going to find their ways in which to, challenge these new products, because this is what the NFTs are. Is a new product base, is a new class base, and I think we have to find a way, as users and coders and everyone else, to get ahead. I think we're falling behind. I think the markets, as the popularity of the NFTs have grown significantly in the last 6 months, is created a big kind of bullseye for individuals to who have unscrupulous intent to go, okay, here, how can I kind of game the system, and then been successful, unfortunately, in some ways. So I think it'll be interesting. What do you think? You as an audience, you guys you've been subscribing and following and watching. What is your feedback? Have you been experiencing the same kind of lockout within seconds? I mean, I've heard players that right now they just don't even bother with the project. They just kind of wait and let it kind of see what happens eventually, which is not what a project wants. The project's supposed to grow. They're supposed to, you know, you know, become more interesting, and they're doing a lot of efforts to keep us as fans, and try to keep everybody content and happy. So I'm just putting this out there right now. This is, like I said, this is a one-off. This is definitely out of out of the regular programming style. A lot of things have been happening in the space, especially this week. It was one of those busy weeks, and just get your feedback. What do you think? Like I said, I did the Cleveland. Cleveland was great. Had no issues. A little bit of a little glitch in the beginning, but quickly resolved. The Undersea Park, again, is a growing project. It's going to be fun to see where that takes off. Uplift, their shortlists. I didn't subscribe. I didn't participate. Again, it's a whole about the vouching and why. And again, they have their own reasoning. I just think once you create these very whitelist, or I should say shortlist kind of criteria, then eventually or gradually, then the goalpost is always going to change. And I think we have to find a way where it's not so much of the goalpost changing; it's just based on this randomness. If some way of proof or some way of evidence to say that you are human, that's already been established, then everything else should be able to fall into place. And we just haven't found that way just yet. Looking forward to this Cryptomon egg sale. I know there's a few players that are interested in when that's going to be released, and that's going to be coming in, I think, next week, if I'm not mistaken. I believe June 30th. So that players who weren't on the top 10,000 can now get the additional 40,000, and hopefully they can claim an egg. This is a great project as well. I'm not going to be part of it per se, but I did support it in terms of buying a few small boxes. I think this will be interesting. And there's many others. I haven't touched on every single project that we're doing because there's just so many. I just kind of highlight some of the challenges that are now beginning to surface, and the feedback. A lot of the community members are just going, okay, this is too much. This is out of hand at this point. And I think the founders and the developers are fully aware of it, to just trying their best to find this most efficient and, I should say, user-friendly way to address the bots. We need to kill the bots. It's as simple as that. They must die. If there's a way to burn a bot, please let me know. We'll definitely have to look into it. I know there's a project that is on his way to try to take a challenge like that. I haven't been looking into it yet and see what the details are, and hopefully maybe we'll have more details about that next week, and we'll see how far they've gone in addressing it. But until then, I hope this makes sense to you. I hope you're just as frustrated as many that I've heard prior, and together we'll probably find a solution that's going to get this rolling a lot better, and then that our next NFT sales or NFT drops are going to be just as entertaining as they were previously, as they were 6 months ago, 3 months ago. So continue to follow, continue to share. There'll be a next episode, not too soon, maybe in the next day or so. I just have to do a bit more research there, and hopefully by then you guys are just enjoying the last few days of June, because July's it's going to be just as busy. So until then, take care.